The bicycle chain hummed a low, metallic tune as Elise pedaled through the narrow dirt paths of the Loire Valley. To any German patrol passing by, she looked like nothing more than a simple farm girl carrying a basket of fresh apples and a loaf of crusty bread. She wore a faded blue dress and a straw hat that shielded her eyes from the afternoon sun. But beneath the lining of that wicker basket, tucked inside the hollowed-out crust of the bread, lay a thin strip of silk. On that silk, written in invisible ink, were the coordinates for an Allied parachute drop scheduled for midnight. The air was heavy with the scent of blooming lavender and wood smoke. Elise's legs ached, but she didn't slow down. She knew the gray ghosts, the German field police, had set up a checkpoint at the stone bridge just 3 miles ahead. As she rounded a bend, the bridge came into view. 2 armored cars sat idling, their engines coughing black smoke into the pristine summer air. 4 soldiers stood by a wooden barricade, their coal-scuttle helmets reflecting the harsh light. Elise felt a cold knot of dread tighten in her stomach, but she forced her face into a bored, tired expression. "Halt!" a soldier shouted, stepping into the road and raising a gloved hand. Elise squeezed her brakes, the bike squealing to a stop. Her heart was hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird, but she kept her hands steady on the handlebars. "Where are you going, Fraulein?" the soldier asked. He was young, perhaps no older than Elise, with dust on his uniform and a tired look in his eyes. "To my grandmother's house in the village," she replied in fluent, calm French. "She is sick, and I am bringing her food." The soldier looked at the basket. He reached in and picked up an apple, tossing it idly in his hand. Elise held her breath. If he decided to break the bread, the war would be over for her. She thought of her brother, captured months ago, in the secret basement where her father hid the radio. "It's a long way to ride for a loaf of bread," the soldier remarked, leaning closer. He smelled of tobacco and sour wine. "Love is a long road, monsieur," Elise said with a small, practiced smile. "And hunger is even longer." The soldier laughed a short, dry sound. He dropped the apple back into the basket and stepped aside, waving his hand for her to pass. "Go on, then. Don't let the bread get cold." Elise pedaled away, her back prickling with the sensation of a dozen rifles pointed at her spine. She didn't look back. She didn't speed up. She kept the same steady, rhythmic pace until the bridge was a tiny speck in her rearview mirror. When she finally reached the old windmill on the edge of the woods, she didn't go to a house. She slipped inside the creaking wooden structure. A man emerged from the shadows, Jean, the leader of the local Maquis cell. Without a word, Elise handed him the bread. He tore it open, retrieved the silk ribbon, and held it over a small candle flame. As the heat hit the fabric, the hidden numbers began to appear like ghosts rising from the grave. "You were late, Elise," Jean whispered, his eyes scanning the coordinates. "The bridge was guarded," she said, leaning against the damp stone wall. Her adrenaline was crashing now, leaving her knees weak. "You did well," Jean said, patting her shoulder. "Tonight, the sky will bring us what we need to fight back." Elise walked to the small window of the windmill to look out at the darkening fields. In a few hours, the quiet French countryside would erupt with the roar of low-flying British planes and the white blooms of parachutes. She wouldn't be there to see it. She would be back in her bed, a simple farm girl once again, waiting for the next loaf of bread to carry. She knew she wasn't a soldier with a medal, but as the first star appeared in the sky, Elise realized that the bridge she had crossed wasn't just made of stone. It was the bridge between occupation and freedom. And she had crossed it alone.